since our topic is about money counterfeiting, we chose the counterfeiters. The Counterfeiters tells the haunting true story of Solomon Sarowich, who is a master fogger whose skills become his lifeline and his burden. He is imprisoned in the Sachsenhausen concentration camp during World War II. Sarowich was pushed to lead Operation Bernard, which is a synchronized mission to produce counterfeit British pounds and US dollar. He is surrounded by death and brutality. He and the selected group of prisoners had to make an impossible choices, which is they need to use their talent to help the Nazis and survive or resist and risk execution. As millions in fake currency roll off the presses, the prisoner battle not just hunger and fear, but the crushing weight of moral compromise. The film catches the intense psychological struggle between surviving and integrity in one of history's darkest moments. During the height of World War II, the Nazis launched one of the bizarre economic attacks in history, which is Operation Bernard. It carried out inside the Sachsenhausen concentration. This secret mission is aimed to flood the global market with counterfeit British pounds and American dollars. So, over 130 million in forged currency was produced, which making it the largest counterfeiting scam ever attempt in history until now. The goal was not just to finance the Nazi war machine, but to destabilize the Allied economies from within. Behind this global economic warfare were imprisoned men like Solomon Sorowich and some of talented people prisoners. The men forced to weaponize their skills to survive, to just for survival. The Counterfeiters reveals how an underground printing press became a battlefield where money was forged not for profit but for power, destruction, and survival.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nur Husnaina binti Muhammad Nizam. My identity PC2213. So today I will continue my part. My part is key financial activity. We have two definitions based on the movie The Counterfeiters 2007. So the first definition is counterfeiting of currency is the unauthorized reproduction or imitation of money and with the intent to deceive or defraud by passing it off as Chinese currency. Means the definition one, Nazi Germany create counterfeit British pound note with the intention of looting and destabilizing the UK economy. Next, definition two, counterfeiting means producing imitation of currency with the aim of deceiving people into accepting it as genius, which is a criminal offense affecting the integrity of the financial system. Means of the definition two, how the Nazis employed skilled Jewish prisoners to produce such as convenience counterfeit notes that the risk damage entire financial system, which is aligned with the eco emphasis of product protecting financial integrity. That's all. Thank you.
Based on Cass Fat movie, I will explain it simply. So first of all, the incident that happened 1936 to 1939, the Forger's life. What happened this year? Solomon Esseli Sorwich is an expert in counterfeiting money in Berlin. He makes fake money and passport that look like the real thing. He used this skill to make a living, but doing this work is wrong and illegal. So, money counterfeiting means that he produced fake money for use. 2 is 1939 to 1944 in prison. Sally was imprisoned for counterfeiting money. While in prison, the Nazis asked her to make large amounts of counterfeit money for them. This showed that counterfeit money could be a tool of war, not just a petty scam. Third is 1944 Operation Bernhard mass counterfeiting mission. Sally and other prisoners make counterfeit British money for the Nazi military. This counterfeit money is used to weaken the enemy's economy by spreading counterfeit money within their country. This is an example of how money counterfeiting can be a weapon in war. Last one is in 1945, Release and Consequences. Although Sally is free, she feels heavy about what she did because the counterfeit money makes her feel guilty. The counterfeit money she produced is not just a small fraud, but has a huge impact on her life and morals.
Hi, I will continue my part. My part is what went wrong. Based on the movie The Counterfeiters is about a Jewish man, Sorowich, who is forced by the Nazis to make fake money during World War. The main problem is that he and other prisoners must choose between helping the Nazis to survive or resisting and risking the deed. Some go along, others try to sabotage the work. In the end, they survive, but they are left feeling guilty and questioning. The next part is who was involved in the movie The Counterfeiters. So the first one is Celine Sorowich. Celine Sorowich, a Jewish counterfeiter forced to work for the Nazis. Next, Adolf Berger. Adolf Berger, a prisoner who tried to resist the oppression. Next, SS officer, Nazis who ran the project and gave better treatment to the hosts who cooperate. And last is other prisoners. Other prisoners like artists, printer, and banker helping under pressure. Next, I will continue my part. My part is how it happened based on the movie The Counterfeiting. During World War, the Nazis created a secret plan called Operation Manhattan. Their goal was to run the British and American economy by making fake money. The big skilled prisoners, like artists and printers from construction camp and forced them to help. These prisoners worked in a hidden workshop inside the camp. Even though they were prisoners, they were treated a bit better so they could keep working. They made fake British pound and tried to make US dollar too, which is the Nazis used to fund their war effort. That's all. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Zati Sharafana binti Mak Subaidin and my metric number is PC23017. I will begin my presentation by explaining when the events in the movie The Counterfeiters took place. This movie is based on real historical events that happened during World War II, especially between the years 1942 and 1945. The story is connected to a secret Nazi mission called Operation Bernhard, where they tried to weaken the British economy by making fake money. This happened during the final and most intense years of the Holocaust, when the Nazi regime was trying anything to gain power. In short, the events happened during World War II between 1942 and 1945 and are based on one of the largest counterfeiting operations in history. Now I will explain why this situation happened. In other words, what factors or opportunities allow the issue to take place. The first reason is the desperation of the Nazi regime. By the early 1940s, Germany was losing the war, especially in terms of money, so they were looking for new strategies to fight back. The second reason is their economic sabotage plan. The Nazis believed that by flooding Britain with fake currency, they could damage the British economy without using weapons. The third reason is the availability of skilled prisoners. In the concentration camps, the Nazis had access to Jewish prisoners who were experts in printing, art, and forgery. These prisoners were forced to work on this counterfeiting project under strict control. Now I'll be talking about the ethical issues portrayed in the film The Counterfeiters, which is based on real events during World War II. First, the most obvious issues were forced labor of prisoners. Jewish prisoners were forced by Nazis to use their talents in counterfeiting operations. This was not voluntary work, they had no choice and were exploited for their skills. Second, there were a major survival was morality conflict. Prisoners had to make impossible decisions. Should they their best work to stay alive, knowing it would help the Nazis, or should they sabotage the operation and risk execution? This inner conflict was a constant source of psychological and moral struggle. Third, there was unequal treatment among prisoners. Those involved in Operation Bernhard, the counterfeiting project, received better food, clothing, and shelter, while others in the camp were starving or dying. This created a divide and group among the privileged prisoners. And lastly, the issues of supporting an evil regime. Even though they were victims by cooperating, they were indirectly helping the Nazis carry out economic sabotage and war crimes. This added another layer of moral complexity to their already tragic situation.
My name is Nushra Atika binti Usman and my metric number is PC23126. The ethical issue is forced labor of prisoners, and the first one is strength international protection against forced labor, which is for mitigation. We can reinforce and enforce international conventions such as the International Labour Organization ILO, Forced Labor Convention, and Geneva Convention, which prohibit forced labor, especially during conflict. And for future action, they can expand global monitoring and early intervention mechanism to detect and stop the use of forced labor in war zone or authority regimes. And the second is increase accountability for war crimes and human rights violations. For mitigation, we can hold individuals and regimes account for use forced labor through international criminal courts. And for future action, we can create fast-track legal processes to force labor as a crime against humanity even many years after the action. The third is promote global awareness and education, which is for mitigation. We can highlight historical cases like the counterfeiters in education to raise awareness of the moral consequence of forced labor. And for future action, we can integrate this lesson into human rights globally to build a culture of against injustice and coercions. The next is how the ethical issues could be overcome for mitigation and future action. The second is the ethical issue is unequal treatment among prisoners, which is the first one is establish clear ethical guidelines for wartime conduct for mitigation. International organization, for example, Red Cross, must enforce ethical standards for treatment of all prisoners, regardless of skill or usefulness. For future action, they can create protocol that prevent treatment based on coerced labor or technical skill, ensuring all prisoners are treated humanely. And the second is promote equal human dignity in international law, which is for mitigation. They can reinforce the idea that all human, regardless of their rules or background, have equal rights to dignity and human conditions. And for future action, they can encourage educational programs that train military and civilian leaders on human rights, emphasizing non-discriminatory treatment. And the last one is post-war justice and reconciliation program, which is for mitigation. They can for mitigation after conflict, acknowledge and address the psychology trauma caused by unequal treatment among survivors. For filtration, they can establish truth and reconciliation commission that allow survivors to share their experience and ensure lessons are passed on the future generation. The next is for ethical issue survival versus morality conflict. The first one is recognize moral injury and psychological trauma in ethical dilemmas. For mitigation, like acknowledge that survivors who were forced into ethically conflicts choice may suffer from long-term emotional damage and that known as moral injury. And for future action, provide mental health care and rehabilitation program that help victims process the trauma of choosing between survival and conscience. The next is foster global ethical education in conflict situation, which is for mitigation, teach frameworks like the doctrine of double effect or situational ethic, which help understand and analyze hard moral choice. And for future action, like include these frameworks in military, humanitarian, and educational institutions to guide people facing extreme condition. And the last one is preserve and share stories of moral courage and struggle. Like for mitigation, document and share stories like those in the counterfeiters to help future generation understand the gray areas of moral morality in war. And for future action, to support historical memory through films and survivor testimonies that explore the complexity of ethical choice in oppressive system. And the next is for ethical issues supporting an EV regime. The first one is strong humanitarian laws against caution, like for mitigation, implement and uphold international humanitarian laws that prohibit the exploitation of individuals in conflict situation, especially when forced to assist a criminal regime. And for future action, ensure that these laws are universally applied and prevent the use of innocent civilians or prisoners of war for tasks that directly support unethical or violent action by oppressive regimes. The next is emphasize individual autonomy and resistance. For mitigation, encourage system where resistance, even passive or subtle, is seen as a valid moral option for those trapped in coercive situation. And for future action, they can promote education on personal autonomy, moral resistance, and the psychological tools for standing up to authoritarian regimes. And the last one is foster global understanding of the effects of economic warfare. For mitigation, educate the public and policymakers about how economic sabotage and financial warfare can be used as a tools of terror, just as deadly as physical combat. And for future action, they can develop international frameworks to prevent the manipulation or exploitation of individuals for criminal economic purpose and ensure these frameworks are part of global peacekeeping missions.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Amanina binti Abdul Halim, PC23144. Lesson learned and the importance that we get from the movie is build trust and credibility. Ethical financial practices ensures transparency and honesty, which create trust among stakeholders such as investors, employees, customers, and the public. Next, ensuring legal compliance. By following the ethical standards helps the organizations to stay within the boundaries of financial law and regulation in order to avoid any legal penalties. Next, support long-term success. Ethical decision making promotes sustainable growth and also protects the company from risks like fraud and scandals that can harm the company image in future.
The next is important of practicing financial ethic. The first one is promote trust and credibility, which is ethical behavior helps earn the trust of stakeholders like customers, investors, and the public. When financial actions are transparent and fair, people feel confident dealing with you or your organization. The second is promote transparency and accountability, which is be honest. Financial reporting allows for clear understanding of a company's true financial position. It also holds people responsible for their action and reducing the chance of hidden mistakes. The third is prevent financial crime, which is ethical finance discourages illegal activities like bribery, corruption, or embezzlement. People who follow ethical guidelines are less likely to take part in or tolerate financial misconduct. And the fourth is preserve stakeholder rights, which is financial ethics ensure fair treatment for everyone involved, like employees, shareholders, customers, and even society. It's avoid exploitation and support fair wages, accurate pricing, and responsible investing. And the last one is encourage stability in the economy, which is when ethical practice are follow, economy become more stable and less prone to scandal or collapse that can hurt everyone. The impact of the ignorance, the first one is decline in public trust, which is once a person or a company is get caught in unethical practices, people lose confidence, and this can lead to lose customers, investors, and long-term damage to reputation. The second is legal impact, which is unethical action often break the law, resulting in criminal and lawsuits. Like companies can be shut down and individuals may go to the jail or so on. The third is loss in money, which is manipulation or bad investment due to unethical behavior can result in serious money loss for both businesses and individuals. The fourth is damage to reputation, which is even if legal impact are avoided, unethical behavior can permanently ruin an individual's or company's reputation, and it's making hard to find jobs, customers, or business partners in the future. And the last one is increased economic and social damage, which is large scale unethical practices can lead to economic crash, job losses, and increase inequality. It reduces public trust in financial system and cause long-term harm to society. Thank you.